Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Fahad, and you are watching the second episode of the Thought Pod. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Ali Z, all the way from Chicago. Ali is a serial entrepreneur, well known as the founder of PakManzil.com, and he's one of those OGs when it comes to the Pakistani media and music industry. We'll be talking about his journey, his experiences, and his life story. Welcome to the Thought Pod, Ali. How are you today?
Good, Fahad. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, Ali. And I've known Ali for, I guess, maybe 15 to 20 years. We've known each other. We've sort of seen each other's journey, and it's phenomenal to see how far Ali's come from being an Uber driver to a millionaire. Running many successful businesses. And of course, our starting point of this conversation is going to be Ali's story himself, in his own words. So, Ali, in a nutshell, tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up, and how did you get into the world of media and arts and music in the first place?
First of all, congratulations on your podcast. I think this is great. Um, yeah, so the journey, it kind of started by accident. Um, I was 13 years old, 14 years old, and us time pe, um, music at that time was very difficult to find online. We had at that time got the Napster, LimeWire, Kazaa, all of these different platforms were there. Pakistani platform nahi tha, right? And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have some sort of a Pakistani music library? Just pe log jaake download kar saken gaane. And that's what I did. And it started back in 2003, 2004, if I'm not mistaken. And abhi bhi chal raha hai. I mean, I'm not handling the daily operations or anything, but like a shukar hai, we've had a lot of success. And usse jo hai na, at that time, if you remember, yaar, artists ko radios जो थे वो प्ले नहीं करते थे, टीवी तो भूल ही जाओ. There was not a lot of music channels. The music भी नहीं था, ना आर्क टीवी था, right? We had PTV. I think Geo was very new at that time. I think ARY, if I'm not mistaken, वो भी उसी time पे आया था. So artists जो थे, they were really relying on forums. उस time पे forums बड़े popular थे, right? Um, so it was forums and it was like websites, and my website, was one of them. And the funny story is actually, and this is kind of like a bragging thing that I always say. um, Atif Aslam जो थे, उन्होंने his song Adat was the first song that he gave to Park Manzil. तो आदत आपको कहीं नहीं मिलता. Park Manzil was the first one to actually host that song. So that's like the brag moment. And how that came about was Shabazz Aslam, Atif Aslam's brother, and I think it was maybe Shiraz as well, his younger brother, or his older brother actually, because Atif is the youngest. Um, so one of them discovered the website. उन्होंने कहा, they like contacted. उन्होंने कहा कि भाई, we have a brother उसने गाने गाया है, can you guys upload his music. अच्छा, it's funny at that time. um, Fakhir, Haroon, these guys were very popular. Like Atif कौन है? And you know गाना डाल दिया. And then obviously from there, you know I don't want to take all of credit, because I think Atif Aslam is one of those lifetime uh, generational talents, जो at least हमारी generation में ही है, अगले generation में शायद नहीं होगा. um, so I feel like his journey, and I always, whenever I meet him, I always tell him this, our journey kind of, it's funny how it started together, and look where you are. And like मैंने भी थोड़ा बहुत success कमा लिया है, but very happy for him, actually, very happy for him. And not just Atif, but उस time पे यार, if you remember, um, एक revolution चल रहा था, right? So we had the rise of Ali Zafar at that time with Channo, then we had Atif, and then the bands, right? Call,
Yeah,
Rosen, Akash,
yeah.
uh,
And I guess just before that, it was the Pepsi Battle of the Bands that sort of revolutionized music in
Rock
Pakistan
music.
forever.
Yeah.
Aro, EP, Mikal Hassan Band, they all sort of were graduates in some way from Pepsi Battle of the Bands. Or uske baad ek nayi crop of bands and musicians came about. The whole underground scene, popped up as well.
Huh. And I think it's amazing because देखो when we grew up हम लोग जो थे जुनून जुनैद जमशेद Harun Fakhir Strings Shazad Roy, these were our guys, right, growing
Yeah,
up, and then हमारे साथ साथ, all these guys came, right? Atif and Jal was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
very good.
yeah,
Farhan Saeed, very
yeah.
talented.
I mean,
uh,
Atif and Jal ki jo puri story hai, that was quite fascinating as well. The single came out, and then before it went, I think Adat was probably the first viral song of our time. It was
on Yeah,
quite
yeah,
different, quite
for
unique,
sure.
and then the whole breakup situation, I think, propelled it even further, where people were taking sides. कि आप आतिफ की side पे हैं या आप गौहर की side पे हैं, लेकिन हुआ
I
क्या,
remember.
whatever. And then I mean, even the way their albums came about, very, very quickly, Atif ki album aa gayi, and then Jal followed through. वही गाने थे, but slightly different versions of it. और फिर उसके अंदर वो conversations थी, which version of Adat do you like more, or which version of वो लम्हे do you like more, and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fascinating because both of those albums did extremely well.
Yeah,
And at that time Jal was very popular as well. You know,
yeah,
I think Atif kind of took off where uh when Mahesh Bhatt discovered him, right?
yeah,
Uske
yeah.
gaane discover hoye, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously he went to India, Duri,
Yeah,
and all of this. Then from there, I think Pali Nazar was the single that really changed his uh trajectory in music.
yeah.
Pali Nazar ke baad na, he just took off, and
Mm.
he's still on top. I mean, Pakistan, like, okay, Pakistan mein abhi bhi new artists aa rahe hain, right? They're young kids, but they're not getting to that level. You know, consistency nahi hai. Like the one, there are a lot of these guys are one hit wonders. Sadly to say, because talent to bahut hai. And I follow Coke Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I listen to these guys. मुझे नाम तो पता नहीं है, but there's a few of them. I think Momina Mustasan, when she released Afri Afri with Rahat,
Yeah.
I honestly thought Momina was going to be the next superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly she has anxiety, so she doesn't really perform live concerts
Mm-hmm.
and do that. Great singer,
Yeah.
amazing voice. मगर वो भी है ना,
Mm.
सॉन्ग राइटिंग की बात आती है, राइट? सो
Acha. Mm.
song writings,
Yeah.
Momina, like, can't
Yeah,
really
I
do
think
it.
I think just taking a few steps back, Ali, I wanted to sort of take you back to early 2000s. When we sort of both started off.
Right.
The internet space looked very different back then. HTML tha. It was
Yeah.
before the advent of Facebook as well. Orchid was there. A few other
This
platforms
before
were there.
Facebook, actually. That's
You know,
scary.
MSN Messenger was the big thing as well. Instant messaging was quite
Yeah,
popular.
MSN.
MSN groups, etc. So tell me about your journey. Obviously this was before internet was that public. Now when we look at the world, everyone has access to the entire world on their fingertips. Back then, the computer hota tha, the only computer at home or the libraries or schools, etc. So starting off your internet journey back then, tell us a little bit about your experiences. What sort of sticks out? What were your most favorite memories of really connecting with people across boundaries? Obviously you were in the US, Pakistan ki industry, Pakistan mein thi, and you were
Mhm.
very much involved in everything that was going on despite being miles and miles away, in the US. Talk to
Yeah,
us about that.
I think वही बात है ना. So, like, music really connected everyone together, right? And I think the biggest thing was that you have everyone that loves music, and they want to be a part of some sort of uh, website or collaboration or whatnot. So, like, nowadays, it's very like no one's gonna work for free nowadays, right? So now I was 14 back then, bachcha tha, and you had like kids on the forums like, oh, can I join your website? It was like a club, right? Can I join your website? Can I be a part of your team? I know graphic design. I know this. Like, okay, cool. Ajo. So that passion of music was really interesting, and those were the best days. Yeah, I mean, we also had you know now that I think of it, I mean, not really competition, but दूसरी website we think there was Park Media Revolution with
Yeah,
Murtaza,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then there was Park Music, obviously. Samad owned Park Music. Apni ISP, I think Hassan owns Apni
yeah,
ISP. And then I think later on, 2006, 2007, Park UM came out with Danish. Um, and then I think there was another one. काफी सारे आए थे.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
those were the ones that were very popular at that time. Um, and उसमें बड़ा कंपटीशन होता था कि यार किसका गाना पहले डाल दो ये वो
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and at that time it was very easy to get access to artists,
yeah.
very easy. I remember I got in touch with Harun by cold emailing him. Website पे गया,
Mm,
cold emailed him कि I love your music. His this उनकी जो थी ना album निकली थी, I think it was Jia Jai, or that was a song.
mm,
Harun Ka Nasha was the album.
yeah,
Yeah. So emailed him, love your music, huge fan, let's
yeah,
work together. And
yeah,
not his manager, he replied back with his phone
mm,
number, and he's
yeah,
like, yeah, let's get in touch. Let's put my music on our website. And that's what we did. So like connections were very easy
yeah,
to make at that time. Atif ka number tha, Ali Zafar ka MSN messenger tha. I remember I used to talk
yeah,
with Ali
yeah,
Zafar. you
yeah, yeah,
Um, Same with Mustafa Zahid.
yeah,
Strings, Bilal, Maksud, Faisal, Kapadia had their numbers too. Uh,
mm,
Jal, all of the Jal guys. Um, it was very very cool.
mm,
And but I didn't wanna, and we talked about this yesterday. Yeah, I didn't wanna just be a website guy, right?
yeah,
That was never my intention. कि मैं
mm,
I never want to be known as a website guy.
yeah,
कि
yeah,
वो website चलाता है ये वो.
mm,
I always wanted to be known as a celebrity blogger.
yeah,
ठीक है? Who's friends with celebrities, right? क्योंकि now
yeah,
if you
yeah,
look at now if you look at the celebrity bloggers, right,
mm,
most of them are acting like they're photographers,
yeah,
right? And that kind of puts you in a different category
mm,
where artists don't really take you seriously. uh तो like अब website वालों को देखते हैं, it's kind of like, yeah, just take my photo and don't bother me. you know Back then, yeah, I used to mingle with these guys. Best times ever. नए गाने सुन रहे हैं, phone पे हल्ला गुल्ला हो रहा है. you know I was like very in, very very in. I knew what was happening, um, who was making what music, कौन से गाना release होगा 6 महीने बाद. It was crazy, and the craziest thing is now, you brought it up. I was living in America. I was
yeah,
born in
yeah,
Pakistan, but I was living in America. So like
yeah, yeah,
having that real time feed and news and everything, it was pretty crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
and
knew, मुझे पता था आतिफ कौन से गाने निकाल रहे हैं in 6 months. What is Jal
yeah,
working on?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and pretty like soon as like studio se गाना बना, you know, मुझे भेज दिया. I got it in my email. I listened to it. They're like, "What's your
yeah, yeah,
feedback?"
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think those were the days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say your most sort of cherished or favorite memories are when it comes to Park Manzil and your interaction and engagement with musicians and celebrities in
Yeah, I
Pakistan?
think
Things
I,
that sort of stick out in your memory
I
box.
think the biggest thing is respect. I think
Hmm.
आपको artists respect करते हैं, and
Yeah.
because along that journey, and I'll tell you like, and free concerts,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
A
Free
concert
passes.
like
Yeah.
Pakistani concerts after Pak Manzil, I've never had to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, मुझे either invites आएंगे, or the promoter contacted me, whatever. And it's very cool that most of these guys remember their humble beginnings, right?
Yeah.
अब जब मैं फवाद खान से मिलता हूँ, he
Hmm.
knows who I am. गले लगता है. Ali Zafar, he was just here a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's funny because I met him before that. I met him like 8 years ago or something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
मैं आया मिला, and he's like, Ali, इतने बड़े हो गए? Ali लगा,
Yeah.
yeah. Ali's a very sweet guy. And then Atif,
Mm.
Atif Aslam, जब भी मिलते हैं, he's always respectful. He's always nice. His brothers have always been nice to me. Um, and even like the new guys, like खैर अब new नहीं है, but like Junaid Khan, I consider him one of my friends. Whenever I go to Pakistan or whenever he's in town, we meet up. Uh, Great guy. And there's a list. There's a huge list. I'm kind of now, uh, and we'll talk about this later, but I'm kind of, you know, in the music industry, but I'm not in the music industry, if that makes sense. Because now it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
पहले पहले खुद अपडेट्स कर रहे होते थे हम लोग एंड ये वो अच्छा मजे की बात ये थी उस टाइम पे we had like these great graphic designers जो graphics बना रहे हैं and they're promoting these artists and now like if you think about it आज का ज़माना होता है ना those graphic designers would be getting paid a lot of money for their work.
Mm-hmm.
But and this is also another thing I want to get to is like Pakistan में there's a lot of talent,
Yeah.
a lot of talent. you know and जहाँ पे passion होता है ना like it's ridiculous because when you have passion your work just speaks out for itself.
Yeah. And
So
I guess now that you've mentioned it as well, I'll ask you this question. You're obviously based in Chicago, but you work very closely with freelancers around the world, particularly in Pakistan as well. So, what would you say? Like, obviously, music industry is one side. You worked with people in the music industry, but now you're working with people from across other sectors as well. Freelancers from Pakistan, tech
Mhm.
guys, etc. What would you say like our biggest strength as a nation is, and what would you say our biggest weaknesses as a nation? And it could be multiple strengths or weaknesses in your view.
I think Pakistan में talent है and it's
Mm.
funny तुम इंग्लिश में बोल रहे हो मैं उर्दू में बोल रहा हूँ anyways पाकिस्तान में ना there's a lot of talent. People, whether it's graphic design, marketing, web design, even Amazon's very popular these days, right? Selling on Amazon. Pakistan में if अगर passion है तो talent भी बहुत है. That's the strength. We can do anything we want as long as we put our minds to it. Now the negative side is obviously दो चीज़ें हैं. हम लोग बहुत झूठ बोलते हैं. Pakistanis lie a lot, you know, for short gains. Long term हम लोग सोचते नहीं, हम लोग short देखते हैं. हमारे, it, जल्दी से कुछ हो जाए. Instead of if someone offered you कि भाई अभी तुम $100 ले लो या तुम 6 महीने बाद 12 महीने बाद $1,000 ले लो. Pakistani is always going to be like $100 अभी दो मुझे, because it's that mindset कि यार बाद में दोगे नहीं दोगे, I don't know, I'm going to get it right now. And accountability is the second thing that lacks in our nation. No one wants to take a blame. There's always excuses. No one's gonna owe up to their mistakes. तो जो, like I'll give you an example. अगर यहाँ पे even in Dubai, you live in Dubai, uh, कोई project चल रहा है and your boss comes to you, uh, then बोले कि बच्चा ये मुझे कल चाहिए, हो जाएगा. Pakistani is always going to be like, yeah, मैं कर लूँगा, कोई ना कोई बहाना हो जाएगा. And Gora जो है ना, and this is what really separates us from other people. Gora हमेशा honest होगा. If he can't do it, he's going to say, I need more time. ये शायद next week मैं कर पाऊँगा, weekend पे कर पाऊँगा. But Pakistani is always going to be like, yeah, मैं कर लूँगा, हो जाएगा. Or they're going to say, हो गया, right? I've done it. So that's the real big issues, and that's why I feel like our country is very far behind. आप कहीं भी चले आओ outside of Pakistan, even आप यार बांग्लादेश भी आप चले आओ, it's very developed. Dhaka is a very developed city. You know, Karachi, Lahore, they're not developed at all, sadly, and that has to do with people and also cleanliness, right? Accountability पे वही आता है. आप जहाँ पे रह रहे हो, राइट, यू हैव टू क्लीन वेयर यू आर. आप अपने घर पे हो तो आप सफाई नहीं करते, राइट? अब आप अब आप टर्की चले आओ, लाइक टर्की इज़ नॉट अ फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड कंट्री, इट्स ओके सेकंड वर्ल्ड कंट्री हो गई है,
Yeah.
ठीक है? साफ-सफाई है। एंड यू गो टू जापान, हम चप्टों की काफ़ी बुराइयाँ करते हैं। यू गो टू जापान, यू गो टू कोरिया,
Yeah.
साफ-सुथरी कंट्रीज़ हैं। पीपल
Yeah.
वर्क वेरी हार्ड, दैट्स व्हाई दे आर सक्सेसफुल। एंड आई थिंक अगर पाकिस्तानीज़ जो हैं, दे स्टार्ट विद ऑनेस्टी एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी। अगर ये 2 चीज़ें फिक्स हो जाए ना, झूठ बोलना बंद हो जाए, we will be very ahead of a lot of these nations, you know. इंडिया हमसे क्यों आगे है? देयर इज़ अ रीज़न फॉर इट। इंडिया में अकाउंटेबिलिटी है,
Mm.
राइट? दे आर वेरी प्रोफेशनल, यू नो।
Mhm.
चाहे आप किसी इंडियन से मिल रहे हैं, चाहे आप इंडिया चले आएँ या आप दुबई में मिल रहे हैं या अमेरिका में, यूके में मिल रहे हैं, द वे दे प्रेज़ेंट देमसेल्व्स इज़ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट, you know, whatever politics aside, you know, whatever, religion aside, Indians, when it comes to accountability, they take it. And so I think Pakistanis have to really follow that. You know, and I'm not, again, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि not all Pakistanis are like this.
Yeah.
You know, we have many successful Pakistani businessmen and companies in Pakistan. But I think if the majority takes accountability and, they stop lying and, all of that thing that has to
Yeah.
do with it, we're going to be in very good hands in the future.
And just circling back to music, what is your take on the current state of Pakistani music industry? Obviously, Coke Studio is a massive export, around the world. It's cherished, and we're seeing a lot of collaborations and new artists coming in. But uske alawa, like, what is your take on the music industry compared to how you've seen it evolve over the years? वो underground bands भी हमने देखे, Pepsi Battle of the Bands देखा, a lot of the entire underground scene where every nook and corner, every school had a band, and rock music ka kafi scene tha. To now, Coke Studio seems to be like that big platform. Obviously, Nescafe Basement bhi tha, and a few other things are happening on the peripheries. But what is your reading on the music industry, and what do you see the future of that?
Um, I'll give my very honest answer.
Hmm.
Look, Pakistan mein, there's a lot of talent, no doubt. Problem is there's no consistency, right? Now, singers that are coming out and that are releasing good music, they're only releasing two or three good singles. And then the rest of their 20, 30 songs, they're not good. Um, I think Coke Studio has done very well. The when Pasuri came out, um, I think Zulfi has done a very good job. And but you have to add more value to Coke Studio, right? Zulfi came and he changed a lot of things up, and dancers bhi aa gaye the. You had those guys from Norway or Denmark. I'm forgetting their names. I apologize. Um, but that was good. That was a good change. And then I think Momina ke Gana aaya tha, and the whole stage and the way they presented everything, the music videos, that was very good. That was something different. That was completely Zulfi. He's a
Yeah,
creative
yeah,
genius, I call
yeah.
him. But now what's next, right?
Mm, mm,
It's always that part of what's next. Coke
yeah,
Studio, like
yeah.
Zulfi basically dragged Coke Studio out from the bottom and he now put it up, and it's like, okay, what's next now? Surprise us. But he's a creative genius. I'm sure he'll think of something. But for me, I think there has to be more collaborations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. About you look at Dosanjh,
Mhm.
right? What's his
Yeah,
name?
yeah, yeah.
I only knew him as an actor. I think I
Mm,
saw like one movie, he was an actor there, and that's it. I
yeah,
didn't even know he
yeah.
was a singer.
Mhm.
And the way his music blew up and up collabs they can. You
Mm.
know, he's collaborating with that Sharon.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
collaborating with these other big artists. He's coming to perform in Coachella.
Mm,
That's what is needed for Pakistani music.
mm,
हमारा even आपस में collab करना, a lot of artists don't do it because there's an issue with ego. And
mm,
if
mm.
anyone, if anyone says there's no egos, they're lying.
Yeah,
There are egos. A lot of these artists don't like each other. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
a lot of them don't. Mainstream
yeah,
artists, कि ये क्यों इसको क्यों award मिला,
yeah,
ये क्यों concerts कर रहा है, isko niche khecho. And I think that's another problem, right? We're not
Hmm.
happy for each other, sadly.
Yeah.
Indians, on the other hand, they don't care. I'm friends with Sonu Nigam. I've been friends with the guy well, more than 10 years now. And I'll tell you a story how I met Sonu Nigam. It's funny because Sonu Nigam jo the, wo concert karne aaye the Chicago mein, and
Hmm.
the local promoter had introduced me to him, you know,
Yeah.
and it was a meet and greet event. A meet and greet
Hmm.
event में होता क्या है कि artist जो है वो तस्वीर खिंचाता है, हाथ मिलाता है आपसे, and you just walk off, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And the promoter introduced me, and I talked to him. And Sonu Nigam, instead of giving me that 2 3 second photo, साइड पे वो मेरे साथ खड़े हुए, मुझसे बातों में लगे, gave me his phone number, gave me his email, and told me to stay in touch.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
और
Hmm.
मुझे उस टाइम पे लगे शायद मजाक चल रहा है ये वो, यार सोनू
Huh.
निगम इज अ वेरी बिग आर्टिस्ट,
Yeah. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
still is, he
Yeah.
still is. तो
Yeah.
उसके बाद जो था, like a few months down the road, I emailed him, he
Hmm.
responded.
Hmm.
Next
Yeah.
time he came to Chicago for a show, his manager texted me that, Sonu bhai wants to see you, I have
Hmm.
some
Hmm. Hmm.
tickets for you, come to the
Yeah.
venue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Aya, direct backstage, Sonu bhai walked in, saw
Hmm.
me, gave me a big hug, thanks for
Hmm.
coming, how are
Hmm.
you? Pura
Yeah.
conversation hua. And even he was very kind to my family, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Backstage, my family was there too, unse bhi wo
Yeah.
mile.
Yeah.
And I've met Sonu Nigam, I think 3 4 times in life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he's one of those guys, he looks you when he talks to you, he looks you straight in the eyes.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
कोई इसमें BS नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. Like, he respects you, he's genuine,
Yeah.
he listens to you, and he shows you love.
Yeah.
And one of the best people I've met in my life.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of tell कि यार ये एक तो बहुत बढ़िया सिंगर भी हैं, but he's a very good human being, despite having success and money. Genuinely, he's a very good guy. And Pakistan में that's what we lack, ego
Yeah.
issues हैं, ये है वो है कि यार इसका, again, I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah.
India में ऐसा नहीं है. You have Arijit Singh, who's same, very humble, very nice. Arman Malik हो गया है.
Yeah.
um, so that's what we really need to stop. We need to
Yeah.
collaborate,
Yeah.
and we need to be very nice, yaar. Like,
Yeah.
रमज़ान चल रहा है, लोग अल्लाह की बातें करते हैं, लोग ये कहते हैं कि यार, आप मर जाएँगे तो कुछ नहीं रहेगा,
Hmm.
व्हिच इज़
Hmm.
वेरी ट्रू, बट आप अमल भी
Yeah.
तो करें इस बात
Yeah.
पे,
Yeah. Yeah.
राइट?
Yeah.
अब and another example I'll give you. Now, artists जो होते हैं ना, they do a world tour, they go to UK, they go to
Hmm.
Europe, America,
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
ठीक है? Now अगर आपसे कोई तस्वीर माँग रहा है, राइट?
Hmm.
जस्ट गिव इट टू हिम।
Yeah.
भाई आपको 99.9% वो बंदा या बंदी आपको कभी ज़िंदगी में नहीं मिलेंगे।
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That
Yeah.
interaction is most likely not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's like me meeting Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
right? अब मैं टॉम क्रूज़ से अगर उससे मिलूँ मैं, right? He's gonna take a photo with me, and he's because he knows कि यार ज़िंदगी में हम लोग शायद वापस कभी नहीं मिलेंगे,
Yeah.
So
And the
I
impact it would have on you or the
yeah,
fans is
you देखो,
paramount compared to the celebrity.
यार
Yeah.
forget about the brand, ठीक है? You never know what the person is going through, right?
Yeah.
एक बंदा डिप्रेशन में भी जा रहा है, he's facing life crisis, if
Yeah.
that celebrity can really change his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Celebrity हाथ मिला ले, time दे दे, you know, like someone can be like committing suicide, like
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and अगर
Absolutely.
कोई
Yeah.
celebrity 2 minute निकाल ले, whether he's tired or he's busy, that
Hmm.
2 minutes can change someone's lifetime. Think about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to also talk about obviously we spoke about music, but let's talk about the entertainment industry in Pakistan, film industry and entertainment industry. I mean, film का काफी हमने सुना था कि it's kicking off. There's revival. शोएब मंसूर की एक दो films आई. Everyone was obviously वो बिलाल लशारी की film आई मौला जट. People were really excited, but it's always been those one or two films every few years. So compare this to India and maybe other parts of the world. What is your reading on Pakistan's entertainment industry? Obviously, news is a big brand. वो हर तरफ news channel चल रहे होते हैं. अभी Pakistani diaspora भी internationally, if we go, हर घर में न्यूज़ चैनल नहीं चल रहे होते हैं. So what do you think is the reason why as a nation we've not really been able to develop a solid film and entertainment side of things?
Fraud,
Hmm.
fraud, accountability. India, देखो, India is heavily funded, right? Do you have investors? You have movie houses that fund these films. Pakistan में you don't have that. जो थोड़े बहुत लोग कर रहे हैं, they're using their own money, or they have family friends that are doing it. So unless you have investors coming in, that make money from these and उनके साथ fraud ना हो, so yeah, I mean, you can really make a lot of movies, and that's like a good thing about Netflix. Now with Netflix, they're putting a lot of this money into the industry. I think Taha Sadakat ki wo documentary आई थी about cricket,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
So I think they collaborated with an Indian team as well. Uh,
Hmm.
it's pretty good, and I think that's what's needed. uh, with Netflix, with these Amazon Prime, and other platforms
Yeah,
online.
yeah, yeah,
I think those are the ones that have to lead the way,
yeah,
into Pakistani cinema, Pakistani dramas, because that's what everyone watches these days.
hmm.
And they're important to have. I think Pakistan mein I remember they launched something similar, like on a small scale, iFlix or something like that. शायद वो चला
Fix or
नहीं.
something.
But
Yeah,
but again, it has to do with, yeah, everyone has to make money, right? अब
yeah,
आप अगर अगर a film producer या director जो है वो पैसे मार रहा है investor
yeah,
के, like, come on, it's not gonna work. तो
yeah,
वही बात है ना, everything comes down to accountability.
yeah,
Accountability होगी आपके पास, honesty होगी, चीज़ें आगे बढ़ेंगी, right?
hmm.
लोग, okay, now we talk about the drama industry. So yeah, the reality of the drama industry is a lot of these guys don't get paid in time.
Yeah,
Some of them don't even get paid. You know,
yeah,
and this is the most sad thing about this whole thing. Ke celebrities think followers and clout is everything, right? And I've been wanting to say this for a long time,
hmm.
but it doesn't matter how many followers you have. आपके पास 24 million followers Instagram पे हो, आपके
Yeah,
पास 15 million हो, it
yeah,
doesn't matter, because पाकिस्तान में पैसा नहीं है. Who are you influencing?
yeah,
How are you? पाकिस्तान में no one's monetizing their followers.
yeah,
इंडिया में तो मोनेटाइज भी हो रहे हैं, लाइक
hmm.
सेलिब्रिटीज, चलो कस्टमाइज मर्चेंडाइज निकाल लो, टी शर्ट निकाल लो, मीट एंड ग्रीट इवेंट्स कर लो.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
दे आर मेकिंग मनी.
yeah,
पाकिस्तान में क्या है, they're using their followers to attack other people. They're using their followers for negative stuff. If
yeah,
I
yeah,
if I had a million followers, 2 million
hmm.
followers, I would figure out a way to monetize and provide them value.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I would do personally. उनको मैं फ़ायदा पहुँचाऊँ, एंड उनको मैं कुछ बेचूँ जिनका उनका फ़ायदा हो, खुश हो. If they're
yeah,
my
yeah,
fan,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I wanna obviously make money from that, because I mean, again, if I'm a film star, if I'm a movie star, if I'm a singer,
yeah,
right? That's my career, right? So I have to figure out how am I gonna monetize them,
hmm.
right? Of journalists, like, you can look at journalists on social media, Patreon, that's what they use to
Yeah,
monetize.
yeah,
YouTube as well. So Pakistan mein, they haven't figured out a way to monetize it. You know, they haven't figured it out, or they're just too lazy to do it. And the
yeah,
boat's gonna sail. You know,
yeah,
boat's gonna sail, and then the next thing's gonna happen. Then they're not gonna do it again. So,
yeah,
but ये तो कहता हूँ यार, potential बहुत है. There's a lot of potential. Like these guys should be multimillionaires.
yeah,
Like they should be on that, like, level with Ali Zafar, Atif, Fawad Khan. Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. you
yeah.
know and these
Not
guys are
Chahat
like,
Fateh Ali Khan.
yeah, okay, so Chahat Fateh Ali Khan,
Yeah,
he's monetizing.
yeah,
he's
yeah,
figured, he's figured it out,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? चलिए, वो बंदा जो है, he's not selling t-shirts, he's not selling anything, he's selling himself. उसके तो
yeah,
concerts हुए हैं, and he
yeah,
charged
yeah,
like $10,000-15,000 per show.
yeah,
पर
yeah,
वो यूएस में भी आया है,
yeah.
कनाडा भी गया है,
He's killing it.
पाकिस्तान में गया है, या
Yeah,
न्यू ईयर्स पाकिस्तान में. So you have to, yeah, like, he figured out, if he can monetize it, why can't you guys monetize it?
yeah.
you know
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this brings us very nicely into the next question that I'm going to ask you about money. Obviously, from being an Uber driver to a millionaire, tell us about that. You know.
Yeah, it's a very funny, I would say funny story, but
Yeah.
also very very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
तो यार पाक मंजिल like all these music websites चलो आप देख लो पाक म्यूजिक पाक यूएम पाक
Yeah.
मीडिया रेवोल्यूशन पाक मंजिल हो गया है Cool Mazoon was the one that I forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Cool Mazoon
Mm-hmm.
was one. And Apni ISP.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of these guys make money. Bhul
Yeah.
jao. No
Yeah.
one makes money. So yeah, and by money I mean is consistent revenue from like more than $2,000-3,000 a month. No
Mm-hmm.
one is making that. अगर आप समझते हो कि ये वेबसाइट्स जो हैं पैसे बना रही हैं, then they're not. And if someone tells you that they're making money from the website in Pakistan, it's a big lie. Don't fall for it. वही बात है कि अगर मैं आपको आज Amazon को कोर्स भेज दूं और मैं आपको कह दूं कि यार you're gonna be a millionaire. This is all a lie. ये सब scam है.
Mm.
So Park Munzil mein, like I did make money, in the early days, but $500, $1,000 in 3 months, in 4 months, for either from AdSense or किसी का concert हो रहा है वो कह रहा है कि यार promote कर दो, I'll pay you this much. $1,000 for a kid, it's enough. It's a lot. But yeah, I'm 35 now. $1,000 barely pays your bills. You know, barely, like if you have a car payment, barely pays your car payment. आपकी mortgage हो गई है. $1,000 is nothing these days. तो ये पाकिस्तान में लोग जो हैं घर चला रहे हैं ये वो. In that sense, yes, if that might be enough. But if you really want to be successful, and if you want to be, someone of a pioneer or a leader in that industry, in that niche, $1,000 is not enough. $10,000 is not enough, to be very honest, a month. So yeah, so getting back to, after Pak Manzil, Majota, I kind of dabbled into, I graduated from college, and then I dabbled into mobile apps. Snapchat was up and coming at that time. So, I dabbled into two startups which I created. One was Celeb Spotter, which was an interesting concept. It was time pay, again, has to do with media, right? TMZ and all these like companies I was following. America में at that time, like paparazzi thing, it was hot.
Yeah.
Photographers, Britney Spears की तस्वीर ले ली उन्होंने,
Mm-hmm.
Madonna की ले ली,
Yeah.
Timberlake की ले ली, and they would sell it to these magazines, right? And they would make money off of it. And at
Mm-hmm.
that time, it was very hot. India में यही होता है, all these for paparazzi you see जो celebrities की तस्वीरें ले रहे हैं, what do? वो तस्वीर magazines, film fair को भेज दी, वो किसी और मीडिया हाउस को भेज दी उसके राइट्स. That's why we have paparazzis. They make money, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
पाकिस्तान में ये चीज़ है नहीं, because obviously
Yeah.
no one has money, right? अब पीपल्स मैगजीन पाकिस्तान जो है वो पैसे खर्च थोड़ी करेगा for a photo of Atif Aslam or Fawad Khan,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? They just
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, so I made an app. It's called Celeb Spotter, a mobile app. So you take a photo of a celebrity, and that photo goes into a server, and the media companies, they would bid on it, whether it's and parent companies, like parent company of People's Magazine, of TMZ, of USA Weekly, um, Inquire. There's so many media houses, when Cosmopolitan. So these companies would bid on it. They would buy the photo from the photographer, and then the app would get a percentage, maybe 5-10% from the photos. So that was doing well for some time, and then like after like a year, 2 years, someone just like contacted me, and they're like, "Hey, listen, nice idea. I love the concept. Let me just buy the source code from you. Um, few $1,000s." I'm like, "Go ahead, मैं तो बच्चा था." So sold it. Nice, good. Next thing I started working on was an app called Zeus Alert. Zeus, like the Greek god. App का फायदा ये था कि it was a personal safety app. So at that time, Syrian refugee crisis was happening. This is 2016, 2015, maybe even earlier. Um, Syria में civil war चल रही थी. A lot of these people were moving into Europe, Canada, and there was a lot of crimes in the US as well. So what the app did was, you basically, if you're in danger or in trouble, You tap the button or the volume button down with the power button, and it would send a notification to your contacts that you chose of your real time location. And at that time, just a few police stations, because I hadn't integrated with a lot of them. So just a few, like college, my campus police, Northwestern had access to it. Um, but again, uh, that sadly didn't work out because there was a competitor in the market that had a lot of venture capital funding, hundreds of millions of dollars. It's called Citizen. That's the app. So Citizen, I think, is available in Europe and in America. You can check it out. So Citizen was in the market, so I kind of gave up on it. Okay, I'm not gonna compete with these guys. So from there, अच्छा, at that time, उसके दौरान ही ना ऐप के दौरान ही I was driving Uber in Chicago. No one really knows this, because I don't discuss this, because I had to fund my startups, तो मैं Uber चला रहा था, right? So it's funny because Ali Zafar मुझसे उस time पे मिला था. I didn't want to tell him, kind of embarrassed, but now that I look at it, it's actually a very nice story to tell. So at that time, I was driving Uber, funding these startups, and then फिर उसके बाद I got into e-commerce. E-commerce पे आ गया चीज़ें बिकने. Drop shipping was a very new thing that time. You know, phone cases बेच दिए. uh, उस टाइम पे मार्वल की मूवीज थी, टोनी स्टार्क के ग्लासेस होते थे, वो बेच दिए. um, and then COVID came. COVID में भी काफ़ी e-commerce चला. And then yeah, this is kind of like everything kind of took off from here, where um, COVID came. Every block, at least in America, had a COVID testing site, right? And they had a COVID testing site. And actually, मैं थोड़ी ना अपनी location ज़रा थोड़ी change कर लूँ. That's actually better. So yeah, COVID testing site thing, and I went basically, every block. कि यार ये COVID testing site हर
Yeah.
block पे जो है,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
हर block पे क्या कर रही है, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I Fahad, I don't think I told you the story before, but the story is कि मैं गया labs पे.
Yeah.
And what happened was I told I asked the director कि भाई COVID test चल रहा है, how much do you guys pay
Hmm.
if I collect a specimen for you? अरे
Yeah.
देसी
Yeah.
अंकल थे, तो देसी अंकल ने कहा कि यार I'll pay you $25. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, cool, $25 sounds wonderful, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
तो अच्छा, उस टाइम पे कोविड था और लॉकडाउन काइंड ऑफ लिफ्टेड. दिस वाज
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
um तो मैंने ना ऑनलाइन बेसिकली went on marketplace, went to इधर एक ऐप है नेक्स्ट डोर, व्हिच इज लाइक अ
Hmm.
लोकलाइज्ड ऐप. उसमें
Yeah.
मैंने एडवर्टाइज किया कि फ्री कोविड टेस्टिंग, I'll come to you.
Hmm.
सही है. स्पेसिमेंस वो कलेक्ट किए, dropped it off to the lab, made my money. अच्छा,
Hmm.
मजे की बात ये है, फिर उसके बाद मैं उधर गया. एक there's a lab right by my house. At that time there was. अच्छा, it was owned by a Jewish guy, यहूदी था वो.
Hmm.
मैंने उससे पूछा कि भाई, if I collect samples, specimens, how much are you going to pay me?
Hmm.
कह रहा $45. अब कहाँ, अब देखो अपना पाकिस्तानी बंदा जो है 25 दे रहा है, एंड यहूदी, यार यहूदी is paying like $45.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So big difference. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll collect samples,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
तो वो क्या. अच्छा, मजे की बात ये, at that time यार it was like a gold rush, right?
Yeah.
क्योंकि
Yeah.
डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प पावर में था.
Yeah.
And the thing was कि ट्रम्प जो है, the government was paying for non-insured, and the insurance company was paying for the insurance.
Hmm.
So, you know, we were, अच्छा, like I was able to franchise it out. अच्छा, मजे की बात ये, like I knew I wasn't gonna make much money अगर मैं एक ही लोकेशन शिकागो में रखूँ.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
I did was I went on Facebook and मैंने franchise का ना इश्तेहार लगा दिया कि who wants to make $20,000 a month, you
Uh-huh.
know, and we'll franchise it off to you. So yeah, I charged them $2,000 franchise fee, which was nothing. अच्छा, supplies मेरे थे, बिलिंग हम लोग कर रहे थे. लैब्स जो थे ना, लैब्स मैंने लोकलाइज किए थे, बिकॉज थोड़ी जो कंपनीज थी ना, दे वर डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ टेस्टिंग, बट दे वर फ्लाइंग, लाइक अगर कैलिफोर्निया में उनकी साइट है या
Yeah.
Florida में, they was overnight flying the specimens back to Chicago for the lab.
Okay. Okay.
मुझे
Yeah.
मुझे पता था it would never work क्योंकि यार
Yeah. Yeah.
एक तो it would be saturated क्योंकि you're
Yeah.
not, the whole population is testing, right?
Yeah.
गोरे भी
Mm-hmm.
हैं, काले भी, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the labs are going to be full by Christmas. So what I
Yeah.
did was अब मेरा Houston में franchise है. I partnered with the Houston lab,
Yeah.
right? अगर मेरा Florida में I partnered with the Florida lab. So I did that ताकि मेरे जो samples थे and the people that came to me, they were getting their test results on time, right? So that's exactly what I did. And we were pella pella amount I thought was ridiculous. So the first time I got paid for it was like 2021, like November, like I think 5-6 thousand ka check आया था मेरे पास. Okay, cool, अच्छा था. And then November में I think like 20-30 thousand का आया. October में 5 का, and then November like 20, and then December में आया like $1 million. I was, dude, I was shocked. I was मैं तो घबरा गया था यार, am I doing something right or wrong? Illegal तो नहीं कर रहा, like बैंक अकाउंट में इतने सारे पैसे, like how the hell? And from there, then it kind of, like January, February, then multi millions of dollars every month came in, alhamdulillah. And we did very well. Sorry, मेरा phone बज रहा है. Yeah, we did very well. And and then from there, like COVID was over, TK, now what's next? So then obviously I kind of dabbled into other businesses.
Yeah.
So I got into, I wanted to get into a neat business. I think the want business में ना, there's not enough money. अगर
Yeah.
अगर आपको वाकई में पैसे बनाने हैं ना, you
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out कि यार what do people really need?
Yeah.
Amazon पे what was I selling on Amazon? Toothpaste, toothbrushes, soaps. तो रोज की वो है ना, right? That's the routine. You wake up every day, you shower, you brush your teeth. That's what I was selling.
Yeah.
And अगर अभी भी आप इसको sell करें, you'll make money. आप वॉल्यूम में पैसे बनाओगे, प्राइस में नहीं बनाओगे. प्राइस हमेशा
Mm.
आप कम रखो, वॉल्यूम आप ज़्यादा बढ़ाओ, and eventually you'll make $1 million in like 1-2 years. Depending
Mm-hmm.
on the volume you sell. Um, and then from there, I bought out a car wash and an auto detail center. उसमें B2B मैंने किया. I got these dealerships to work with me. We cleaned their cars. It's very nice. Made some money.
Yeah.
And then I got into solar. Solar is a very, again, solar is a one business, but solar में अब आप आज देखें ना, like European Union announced कि भाई electric cars जो हैं 2035 तक होना चाहिए. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get rid of all these gas cars,
Yeah.
right? So we're kind of moving into that uh,
Space.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, electric is gonna be, solar power is gonna be taking over.
Yeah.
Everything else is gonna be obsolete,
Yeah.
which is kind of scary when it comes to electric cars. Because like I have a Tesla,
Mm.
and it's like these cars can be hacked, and a lot of things can happen. You
Yeah.
know, self-driving cars kind of scare me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
आप लॉक वॉक नहीं हो जाए आप गाड़ी में, गाड़ी आपको कहीं और लेके जा रही है. You
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
these in
True.
movies.
Yeah.
So I
True.
don't know how that's gonna work. But yeah, solar in America, it's only 5% is tapped, is a tap market.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Australia, New Zealand, all these places, even Pakistan and even the Middle
Yeah.
East, solar is needed.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very good business to be in.
Yeah.
And then obviously now, and we talked about this, my new company is called Capsule, and Capsule is a tiny home company. And जहाँ तक economy जा रही है and जहाँ तक महंगाई बढ़ रही है, I figured out a way कि यार how can we help people जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते घर, उनको हम
Yeah.
छोटे घर बना के दे दें. you
Yes.
know
Correct.
and
Yeah.
and and not just houses. uh, we want to provide them as well with cafes and restaurants. चलो आप कई लोकेशन पे जाते हो, आपका लैंडलॉर्ड जो है वो रेंट या आपकी जो लीज है वो बताता है, आपको बड़ी महंगी बताता है.
Yeah.
अगर आप कपड़े बेचने चाह रहे हो या आप खाना बेचने चाह रहे हो,
Yeah.
इट्स एक्सपेंसिव. एक तो आप अपनी लीज दो, फिर आपके अपने एक्सपेंसेस हों. एंड अगर आप अपनी, इफ यूर द बिजनेस इज नॉट प्रॉफिटेबल, व्हाट डू यू डू?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
आपको तो लीज का रेंट देना पड़ेगा, वरना वो आपका जो लैंडलॉर्ड है आपको कोर्ट कोर्ट पे ले आएगा, केस कर देगा. सो देयर इज एन अल्टरनेटिव. द
Yeah.
अल्टरनेटिव इज कैप्सल. हम लोग जो हैं, what we're doing is we're making these pop-up container restaurants, bars,
Yeah.
gyms, tiny homes, all anything that has to do with spaces, modular spaces. We're doing that, and we're doing it in an affordable price point.
Yeah.
And एक बात मुझे याद आती है जुनेद जमशेद की. There's an interview. They actually lecture वो दे रहे थे on there's it's on YouTube. And Junaid Jamshed said a very nice thing. उन्होंने कहा था कि वो जो कपड़े बेचते हैं ना,
Hmm.
he doesn't sell it for that expensive.
Hmm.
वो कह रहे थे जो कपड़े जो सस्ते में बिकते हैं ना, वो उसमें ज़्यादा सरचार्ज नहीं लगाते वो लोग.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know about now, but at that time, he said कि यार देखो, you have to provide value, right? अगर
Yeah.
अगर आप कपड़े पहने हुए हैं, right? and जैसे मैं ये शर्ट पहना हुआ हूँ, right? It has to provide me value, right? Quality is very important.
Yeah.
ठीक है, अगर this is, by the way, this is Uniqlo. This is a Japanese brand. सही है. अब Uniqlo जो है, अगर ये $2 की बन रही है, $3 की बन रही है जापान में, if you go to Tokyo or if you go to Osaka, ये शर्ट जो है $7 की मिल रही है, $10 की मिल रही है. This shirt, bro, I'm wearing like 10 $12.
Hmm.
But if I go to Zara, अगर मैं Zara जाऊँ अभी, ये क्वालिटी की जो शर्ट है ना, ये $30-40 की मिलेगी.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So it's really all about quality and
Yeah.
value. Uniqlo is actually providing value, to their customers. Zara is not. Zara is
Yeah.
fast fashion. It's like Fashion Nova या Pretty Little Things जो UK में होती है.
Yeah.
आप
Yeah.
आप 2-3 बार इसको पहने, and that's it, it's done. And then
Yeah.
you gotta buy another one for an expensive amount of money. So my thing is, care, as long as you're providing value, as long as you're honest, and as long as you're holding yourself accountable, you're gonna be very successful.
Yeah. Perfect. And my final question to you, Ali, is how do you see the world, in the future, 2050? What is your big vision? Like, you talked about electric cars, we were talking about social media earlier, we were talking about how the businesses are done and how consumers interact with businesses and products. So, 2050, what is your view? How would the world look like?
Um, it would be a very different world, definitely, and I think it would be a क्या कहते हैं उसको, AR technology, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So अब जैसे आप फ़ोन पे बात करते हैं किसी से, right?
yeah,
You're WhatsApping on video, whatever. तो अब आपने Star Wars देखी है? Star Wars में वो projector रहता है,
yeah, yeah,
right? When you're talking to someone, that's what's gonna happen. With how the technology is going. There was a company called Magic Leap not too long ago, but I think they filed for bankruptcy because they couldn't, they weren't well funded enough. They had AR technology. जैसे VR होता है ना, there's AR. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it's gonna be a projector. You get to talk to people. अगर आपको अपनी अम्मी से बात करनी है, किसी को आपको देखना है, you call them, it projects them in real time, and that's how you're gonna talk. Flying cars, I mean, they've been talking about it for years. Hopefully, there's flying cars. I mean, they're gonna have to build a separate airspace for them because planes fly at a 30,000, feet. So I think with cars, it's probably gonna be around 15,000, 10,000 feet. उसका तो खुद ही, air traffic control होगा. But it's gonna be a very very interesting world. And it's gonna be scary because आपने देखा होगा WHO, sorry,
yeah,
they said you won't own anything and you'll be
yeah,
happy, which is the craziest thing. You're not gonna own a house, you're
yeah,
not gonna own your car. Everything is gonna be more of like a subscription based model.
yeah, yeah.
That's what they're predicting. I hope that's not true, but it looks to be like a very scary and uh very uncertain future.
And let me ask you this: in 2000s, what did you envisage 2025 to be, and how much of that has come true, or how much of it hasn't come true? If you had any vision back then.
Yeah, I only had one vision, and this is to be very honest, and I told my mom this many times. The only vision I had was I was gonna be a millionaire. That was the only vision I had. Yeah, one way or another, I don't know what I'll be doing. where I will be, but
Yeah.
I'll have a lot of money, right? I'll do something, just say I made it in life, and alhamdulillah, like it happened. But I'm still in the, I like to say I'm still in the beginning of those stages.
Yeah.
My journey is starting now.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I feel. I have a long way to go. So do you. So do a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the most important thing that I learned in my journey is to be humble, to be grateful.
Yeah.
पैसे, cloud, ये चीज़ें आने जाने वाली चीज़ें. You'll have it today, you won't have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
uh, Money doesn't solve relationship problems. It only
Yeah.
solves paying the bills, whatever.
Yeah.
uh, Friendships, family, this is beyond money.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
um, I like to believe I'm humble. I want to be humble. um, but I think अगर आप relationships में आप ज़्यादा ध्यान दें, and if you have money, you gotta share it around. आप जो charity करें, दूसरी चीज़ें
Yeah.
करें,
Yeah.
provide value to people. you know
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to a restaurant or if you're going to a coffee shop, pay for the person behind you. you know
Yeah.
ये छोटी चीज़ें जो है, these things add up. So do that. And Allah Ta'ala आपको और देगा.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much my
Amazing.
message.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ali. On that note, we will wrap up this episode of the Thought Boss. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insights and taking us down the memory lane with you. And a big thank you to all our viewers for listening in as well. And do drop your feedback and comments so that we can take them into account for our future content. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Saad. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.